In this video, we're going to talk about a picture that I am in with Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada's laughing. And here you can see the picture. You've probably seen this picture before. It's been used quite a lot. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story and a little bit about the fact that I was hardly ever in pictures with Prabhupada. And this picture, I'm pretty much in the center. And this picture is everywhere you go. You can't miss it. And I always used to think, I'm never in pictures with Prabhupada, even though I was on the walk or in the class or here or there. And they were shooting everywhere. They always missed me. And I was thinking, Krishna knows I'm so proud. I want to be seen. And look at me, you know. I'm with Srila Prabhupada. I'm number one. And finally, after so many years, this picture appeared. And all of a sudden, it went everywhere. So I thought that was kind of funny. Krishna said, okay, all right, I know you want to be in a picture. We're going to put you right in the center, and this picture is going to be seen everywhere. What's going on in this picture? Prabhupada is laughing. Well, the first thing I would like to say is that, we have these ideas of the Guru. Very serious. Very sober. And indeed, Prabhupada was very serious and very sober at times, or I would say most of the time, but not all of the time, because Srila Prabhupada, like all of us, is also a person who has personality. And so we can't expect he's only going to be one way. And sometimes Srila Prabhupada was very funny, and we loved it. It just endeared us to him more and more. So here's an incident where Prabhupada was very funny. What's going on? Everyone's laughing. You'll see in the picture a few people are not laughing because they didn't hear what Prabhupada said, or maybe they didn't understand. So this takes place in 1976 in Santa Monica. Santa Monica is a beach close to the Los Angeles Temple. If you just go west from the Los Angeles Temple for about 15 minutes, you end up in the Pacific Ocean. And you just go north slightly. There's a beautiful beach, nobody practically on that beach, where Prabhupada was walking. He walked. And Venice Beach was the beach just south of Santa Monica. He walked. It's a Santa Monica Beach sometimes, and above Santa Monica, there's a cliff and a park, and he walked there. And I grew up in this area, so I know this area well. Everywhere Prabhupada went on morning walks in LA, I had grown up in those places. Very interesting. That's another thing. So during this time, there was a fierce competition for book distribution. Who's going to be number one? And there was a party called Radha Damodar headed by Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And this party was practically distributing more books than all the temples in the world. Or maybe they were number one in the world, at least number one in America. So this competition, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj was very competitive, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj really liked winning. Competitive people like to win, and when they don't win, they're not so happy. So Prabhupada knew that, and he pushed the competition because it made the devotees work harder. Sometimes the competition degraded. We saw that also. But Prabhupada was pushing the competition. Come on, outdo your godbrothers, do better, because that better meant distributing more books. And of course, we wanted to distribute more books. So Prabhupada was pushing friendly competition. Sometimes it wasn't so friendly. That's the problem. That's another issue. But Prabhupada was pushing competition. Oh, he outdid you. You're going to stand for that? You're going to let him outdo you? What kind of devotee are you? Things like that. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj was very competitive, loved being number one, and worked very hard to secure the number one position. So in South America, book distribution was growing and growing and growing under the supervision of Hridayananda Maharaj. And people were writing letters to the BBT from all kinds of places where there were no temples, because the books were going to all these places, and they were interested in the books, amazed by the books. They wanted to know more. And so Ramesvara Maharaj, at that time, who was head of the BBT, loved to tell Prabhupada about book distribution because he loved to give Prabhupada pleasure, and he knew anything he told Prabhupada about book distribution would excite Prabhupada. Prabhupada would be so happy. And so he just loved to see Prabhupada happy, so he loved to tell him about book distribution. He just loved it. So they were getting all these letters, and so Ramesvara Maharaj told Srila Prabhupada, we're getting so many letters from South America. People are getting books in places where there's no temples, and it's just, and this is all Hridayananda Maharaj's mercy. This is his glory. He's preaching so amazingly, so many books. And then Prabhupada stopped him, and Prabhupada said, don't speak so loudly. Tamal will have a heart attack. So Prabhupada just played into that whole mentality of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, knowing how this was like, would be burning him to pieces to hear the glories of Hridayananda Maharaj outdoing him in book distribution, or doing so well in book distribution. So Prabhupada knew that. He played into that. And he made this joke. And then as soon as he made that joke, it was like, out of nowhere, Prabhupada made that joke. And it's kind of like, when you make a joke and everybody's thinking like that, and then you say it, you come out and say it, it's so funny. It is so relieving also, because, yeah, we're all thinking like that. Tamal's going to have a heart attack. But Prabhupada comes out and says it just kind of out of the blue. And that's Srila Prabhupada. He could be very, very funny, sometimes sarcastic, very funny about the material world and how things go on, and just be very raw and very straightforward. So if you haven't seen the picture, here it is again. You can see it. These are wonderful memories of being with Prabhupada. And now you know the story behind the picture.